you want to go to the next slide, please? Can you guys click? Yeah, there we go. So you may have noticed that we're a little bit bigger in number this morning. So good morning, good morning. Thanks to Fred. We have some guest musicians with us today. Lady with the best name, Julie Ann Lovely Thompson. And Doug, is it Etsy? Esty. All right, Esty. Anyway, and so we're very excited, and they are going to be doing our first song. Good morning.
Are you awake now? If you know this, or even if you don't, when the chorus comes along, I hope you'll sing. There's a dark and a troubled side of life. There's a bright and a sunny side too. Though we meet with the darkness and strife, the sunny side we also may view. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day. It will brighten all our way if we keep on the sunny side of life. Though the storm and the fury breaks today, crushing hopes we cherish so dear, the clouds and the storms will pass away. The sun again will shine bright and clear. Here we go. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day. It will brighten all our way if we keep on the sunny side of life. Let us greet with a song of hope each day. Though the moment be cloudy or fair, let us trust in the Christ always. He will keepeth everyone in his care. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day. It will brighten all the way if we keep on the sunny side of life. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day. It will brighten all our way if we keep on the sunny side of life. If we keep on the sunny side of life.
Welcome, everyone. It's really been exciting listening to the band this morning. Oh, it's so energizing. It's great to be here. My name's Linda. I'm your chairperson today. Our 5 basic unity principles, I love number 3, 4, and 5. I create my experience by what I choose to think and what I feel and believe. And through affirmative prayer and meditation, I connect with God and bring out the good in my life. And I do and give my best by living the truth I know. I make a difference. So when I was a child, I really believed this. You know, I knew nothing about unity, so I wanted a horse. Yeah, that was what I was affirming. And you know how when you have Sunday chicken and then you get the breastbone, the wishbone? Yeah, I got so good I could tell the anatomy of the bone and which end to hold in order to get your wish. So it was always me and my little sister, who was a year and a half younger than me. And I have to ask her, now that we're both in our 60s, did you ever get a wish, a chance to make a wish? Because I don't really remember. I hope I had some generosity and let you have that end, unbeknownst to you. You always have a foot up on the younger one, You've learned a few things that they don't know yet. So I always wanted to be like Timmy and Lassie, and I wanted a horse, and I would ride to school on my horse, and Lassie would follow me there. And my mom was born in 1918, so they had horses. She knew about horses. We lived on a farm. I figured if I asked enough, wished enough, I'd get a horse. Well, it just wasn't in the cards. The sunny side and all of that, it just didn't work out. But I do want to say that a friend of mine for my birthday gave me this little bracelet I'm wearing since June, and it's just a string with some beads on and tied on with some knots. And it's called an intention bracelet. So you set an intention of what you want to create in your life. And it wasn't a horse. I've let that one go. Cats are good enough for me. But my intention, that's a big thing for us Unity people and other folks as well, to think about what is it that we want to create. What do we want to attract into our lives? And, I'm often tempted for things similar to a horse, like a new house or blah, blah, blah. But this time, Spirit was speaking to me and brought me some wisdom, and my intention has been to speak, to communicate clearly, so that what I'm thinking and feeling, I do my best to communicate that to another, with the primary purpose of connection, not just to get my way. And I take my lessons from the Dalai Lama to speak what is true, what is kind, and what is necessary. And sometimes that is gentle, and sometimes it's rather edgy and setting boundaries. And I think that's important too. So anyway, that's what I've been, I love this little bracelet because it dangles and I'm like, what is that? Oh yeah, that's my reminder. So this is a constant reminder. And they say if you do something every day for 30 days, it gets to be a new habit. So anyway, that's all I have to say. Welcome everybody. If you would speak aloud with me, the 12 powers of unity. What I was speaking on is from the power here of the throat. That was my intention. So, I'm not sure why this slide is up, though.
Because Beth asked me to put it there.
Okay.
And now she's not here. So.
Oh, okay. Bev was going to be our platform chairperson today, and she is not feeling well, so I'm subbing for her. And so if you can say a prayer for Bev. Okay. So our vision, please say with me, a world powerfully transformed through shared spiritual awakening. And our mission, advancing the movement of spiritual awakening and transformation through unity, a positive path for spiritual living. And our values, abundance, acceptance, community, diversity, integrity, joy, and love. And we celebrate our children. Unity of Appleton sees the divinity in all children and nurtures their unfolding spirituality. And our daily word is reflection. God, the one presence and power in the universe, is expressing through all people, the natural world, and all other aspects of life. If I ever doubt the presence of God, I need only behold the world around me. The light of God is being reflected in the kind words and acts of people, in the beauty and magnificence of nature, and in life's grand rhythms and minuscule moments. I too reflect the brilliance of God. My ideas, dreams, and all I do to make my mark on the world are just some of the ways the divine expresses uniquely as me. Living from my divinity, I bring more of God's light into the world. And all of us, seeing the glory of the Lord as though reflected in a mirror, are being transformed into the same image from one degree of glory to another, from Corinthians chapter 3, verse 18. And I do want to just end before we hop into music. I'm going to ask you to connect with that feeling by coming, first of all, to speak aloud with me the statement, I reflect the brilliant light of God. And if you could close your eyes and settle for 1 minute into your bodies and into the heart center, especially in the area, if you can imagine, behind the heart, the area of generosity, of reception, what allows us to feel this kindness and compassion and fullness that gushes and grows, and connect with something in your life that helps you feel that, whether it's a pet or a loved one or the sound of the red-winged blackbird that returns in spring after a long winter. Whatever it is, breathe into that heart space. Thank you. You can open your eyes. Onward.
Thank you for that. It's a wonderful way to prepare for a song with peace in the title. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Fred. Thanks, Doug, for coming up, and Paige. It's been wonderful communicating with me back and forth about coming today. Now I've been happy lately, thinking about the good things to come, and I believe it could be something good has begun. Now I've been smiling lately, dreaming about the world as one. I believe it could be someday it's going to come. 'Cause out on the edge of darkness there rides a peace train. Peace train, take this country, come take me home again. Now I've been smiling lately, thinking about the good things to come, and I believe it could be something good has begun. Peace train sounding louder, light on the peace train. Ooh-wee, come on the peace train. Peace train, holy roller, everyone jump on the peace train. Ooh-wee, come on the peace train. Now get your backs together, go bring your good friends too, 'cause it's getting nearer, soon it will be with you. Now come and join the living, it's not so far from you, and it's getting nearer, soon it will all be true. soon it will all be true. Now I've been crying lately, thinking about the world as it is. Why must we go on hating? Why can't we live in bliss? 'Cause I'm on the edge of darkness, then rides a peace train. Peace train, take this country, come take me home again. Peace train sounding loud, light on the peace train. Ooh, come on the peace train. Peace train, holy roller, everyone jump on the peace train. Ooh-wee, come on the peace train.
Thank you, Julie. And band, wow. That makes my heart gush. I have a huge crush on Cat Stevens. Sorry, Tom. But my chance of meeting him was like even worse, lower than getting a horse, so. We are really privileged to have Reverend Sandra McKinney with us here again this morning. She made the trip from Eau Claire, and many of us know her, but I'll just read this anyway. She has served at Unity Christ Center in Eau Claire as an ordained minister for 13 years, retiring in 2016. Prior to ordination, she served 2 years at Silent Unity. Since retirement, she has been speaking at Unity Centers in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa in person, and also via Zoom. She also continues to enjoy officiating for weddings, home blessings, baptisms, and celebrations of life. Thank you so much. Welcome, Sandra McKinney.
Good morning. Thank you, Linda. I think that bracelet's working. And wow, the music. You know, I was watching this show last night called AGT. I think you guys should apply. America's Got Talent. In case you haven't watched that one, you're of that quality. You know, we're talking this month, I believe, if not ongoing, which was told to me, on the 12 powers, which was probably why that slide was up there. Sound okay? Good on sound? And so I was designated understanding and will is 2 of the 12 powers. Now, some folks today might, you know, this is coming from Fillmore's book, The 12 Powers of Man. And I know there might be folks today who say immediately, well, what about women? Well, we remember that in the 13 books that we study in Unity by the Fillmores, they were written in the late 1800s, the early 1900s. So a time way before gender enlightenment. So today, as we look at understanding and will, we might question why those 2 are joined together. For one session. You know, Fillmore locates the powers throughout the body, in different areas of the body, and those 2 powers are located right in the middle of the forehead, almost one above the other. Sometimes what we refer to as the third eye. I'm always reminded when I see the visual that he uses to locate those powers, I'm reminded of the chakra system. Any of those who've studied the chakra, which is from the Far East. And we know that Fillmore was influenced in his studies of Eastern philosophy. So that may be coming in and getting shown in that way. Another thing that influences our spiritual growth when we really get serious about it, is the spiritual writers of our times. Well, of course, that means you're reading them, right? Mine, remembering back 48 years ago, when I was introduced to Unity, Wayne Dyer, Marianne Williamson, she's doing other things these times. Emmett Fox, I remember reading him a lot. And of course, many Unity ministers. At that time, Eric Butterworth, his books are still very popular. So I then asked, well, who was influencing Fillmore when he and Myrtle were developing the Unity movement? Who was he reading? They refer in the writings that I've found that he was very influenced by the transcendental writers of his time, like Emerson and Thoreau. Here's a quote that helped me. Emerson laid out the ideas of a fulfilling life. Thoreau lived them. I really like that one. There's three ideas of transcendentalism. They are individualism, the divinity of nature, and idealism. I think those are beliefs that really have a unique connection between them, that each individual and the universe is connected, rejecting societal divides based on religion, and focusing instead on liberating philosophy, grounded in intuitive thought. That pretty much defines Unity for me. I know you've all been studying 12 powers recently, and you've learned that these 12 creative powers are fundamental to us. They're aspects of our divine nature. And the notion that each of us holds the divine within us, that we have a spiritual nature along with our humanity, that concept is not new. That we have a spiritual nature along with humanity is something that Unity, I think, has taught from the beginnings. But most of us don't have a method for developing those spiritual capacities. So Charles Former, strongly influenced by the Transcendental movement, went on then on a committed spiritual search that led him through those Eastern spiritualities, and then he integrated with Christianity of his upbringing. I think if we really look at the 12 powers in that perspective, we can see those influences. He created this 12 power system more than a century ago. It's based on the reality of the divine spark within all people. And he used the disciples of Jesus as examples of those 12 powers. And it provides a system for soul growth. I was in a study once, I think it was with the Great Lakes region, where one of the Unity ministers presented those 12 powers in an order that made sense. Like, you can't move to the next power unless you've done these three first, and so on. But that's probably another talk. I found a writer in Australia who equated the 12 powers to the 12 steps of AA. And I find that fascinating, having just celebrated 49 years of sobriety. Will was step 3 in this writer's perception. And it reads, here's step 3 in AA. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. There you have will and understanding in the same sentence. Fillmore also positioned, again, these powers very close together, and in that space in the forehead that we talked about. That positioning alone would combine them for our study. So let's take a look first at these two powers. First, understanding. Understanding is the ability to know, perceive, and apprehend. The disciple equated with this power is Thomas. He represents the ability to see beyond appearances to reality. Understanding is important in developing our spiritual nature because it is that faculty that puts feet under our prayers and gives our spirituality something to stand on. Blind faith, faith without understanding of spiritual laws, may get us results on occasion, but our spiritual growth really depends and is based on that, and that's more dependable. That understanding is grounded in spiritual truth. Thomas, we remember, as a disciple who represents understanding. A study of his contact with Jesus gives us some insight into the ways that we must develop our own ability to think and to learn to make decisions and deductions and draw conclusions so that we may awaken this spiritual quality that's in us. I'm gonna have to have a drink. The lights make you very dry-mouthed. So Thomas didn't always have spiritual understanding, but he wanted to learn. And he didn't mind asking questions, and he listened to Jesus' answers. He's probably best known for doubting the news of the resurrection when he heard it secondhand from other disciples. Jesus respected Thomas's need to know firsthand. And the awakening of our own faculty of understanding begins with questioning. Questioning those old ways of thinking that we may have taken for granted. The desire for understanding leads to thinking about what is learned and seeking to put it all together in a body of information that really provides us a basis for living. Now, understanding is different from wisdom. And to put that more simply, wisdom knows, understanding knows why. Wisdom knows, understanding knows why. And when your understanding is developed, not only will you have this knowing in mind, but you will also have the ability to apply it in your world. So call on this spiritual gift of divine understanding for insight. If I'm not sure the path to take, which decision to make, or what words to say, I can allow spiritual understanding to guide my mind and heart. Understanding takes us to a deeper level of compassion, non-judgment, connection to others. I can use understanding to see beyond a human appearance into the light of truth. So an example, many times we may reach a point in our lives where we're seeking direction, guidance. That's a great time to reach out for prayer to Silent Unity. I was at Unity Village once for 2 weeks in studying as I worked my way in through the licensed teacher program. And I remember on that weekend, they give you, there's no schedule on the weekend, and you're encouraged to seek prayer and meditation. And so I called Silent Unity, even though I was right there on grounds. There's great power in the phone in calling Silent Unity. Who's done that? Oh, all right. I know you can write for prayer now, you can email, you can text, you can do all of those things, but there's some power in that human voice on the other end of the line. And I remember calling, and my prayer was asking for guidance. And the prayer worker did the prayer, the written prayer that she had in front of her. They are written, by the way, having worked there. But then she said, get a paper and pencil. And she said, write this down. I know when I know that I know. And I got so angry as I hung up the phone and said I didn't ask for a blanking riddle. But I did write it down, and I did start working with it. I know when I know that I know. That's understanding. Now, having worked there later, I realized how inappropriate that was for her to do that. But it's one of my greatest gifts that I've ever received. And I've worked with that and used it a lot in my life since then. So that takes us to will. Will is the ability to choose, to lead, and decide. And that disciple is Matthew. He represents that decision-making part of our brain. Again, located right there, right next to understanding. So it's powerful when you meditate, if you're looking at one of those powers, to really think about that location and that disciple, and include that in your prayers and meditation. It's our job in developing our God-given potential to re-educate the will. You know, that directing power of the mind, to teach it to become receptive to spiritual motivation, rather than the goals that may have been determined by materialistic pursuits alone. One way or another, we are using our will, our executive mind power all the time. We choose a course of action. We resist or resent. We submit or fight back. We aim high or we slide backward. Or we're willing to consecrate and dedicate our way. Will is the executive power in man. Will executes what has been determined to do as right action. Will is not intelligent. It only executes orders. Right understanding precedes will. We must think before we act. So do not act before understanding how to act and what right actions to take. And the two work together for the higher good to be demonstrated. You know, Jesus was our great way, sure, in overcoming the human selfish motivation of the will and allowing it to be replaced by a great unification with the divine will, God's will, producing good for all. The rewards of unifying our wills with the will of God are great. They include health, happiness, joy, peace, harmony, prosperity, and all the good that we can't even visualize in our present state of consciousness. So learning to activate the divine will in your life does not mean that you simply submit to the human will of others. There's many inharmonious situations in human relationships that result from the clash of human wills. Now, learning to activate the divine will in your life does not mean that you simply submit to the human will of others. Instead, it will give you a new freedom that recognizes the human force applied by others, but does not submit to it. When you find yourself confronted by a strong will that insists that you go its way, turn within to the Christ, the God self, the spiritual core of your nature. Silently say to that other person, The Christ in me beholds the Christ in thee. The love of God and the understanding of the spiritual nature of that other person pour forth from you so strongly that there's no conflict in human wills. Rather than there's this higher power at work, establishing harmony and order. So we can first start to awaken the will and train it by consciously watching the activities and directing it through our growing spiritual understanding. Again, easy to see why these two are so connected. My spiritual will is the energy of confident living, decision-making, and determination. My power of choice helps me stand strong and resilient when I feel challenged. I'm able to respect the preferences of others while maintaining my own healthy boundaries. I make decisions that are grounded in my positive nature and expect them to unfold with perfect joy-filled outcomes. I notice and appreciate synchronicities and sacred moments that are filled with this unmistakable presence of God. I'm always so blessed to be asked to speak. After retiring, you kind of, when you did it every Sunday, you think, oh, just look forward to a time when I don't do this. But I'm so blessed when I'm asked because it sends me that week on a journey of exploration and some words that came to me today, which I then put to paper later in doing this study, was I've done a couple rebirthing exercises, and if you've ever heard about that or not heard about it, want to know more, look it up online. I think they say Google it. But in my first rebirthing exercise, my words at birth, and I was cesarean birth, were I can do it myself. That was just so vivid that I said those words. And the woman helping me knew I'd been cesarean birth. I can do it myself. And yet I went, and this just came to me at age almost 82, that even though I said those words at birth, I lived a life of trying to figure out what you wanted me to do. That's crazy making when you think about it, right? So thank you for that lesson. So will and understanding work in tandem. And spiritual understanding, as revealed through the guidance of spirit, determines what right action to take. Will is the executive power in man. Will executes what has been determined to do as right action. Those 12 powers are spiritual tools for creating a life that Apostle Paul said no longer is storm-tossed by difficulties and challenged by faith, a challenge to your faith. In 2017, Charles Fillmore's spiritual classic, The 12 Powers of Man, came to life in an exciting documentary. Did you guys look at that here? Because we looked at it in Eau Claire. It was directed by New York Times bestselling author and award-winning filmmaker James Twyman, who's also an artist, a singer. I see shaking heads knowing James. So he directed. There were 30 well-known Unity ministers on this film who shared their insights on each of the 12 powers. And it included Reverend Ed Townley. Anyone hear of him? He also produced the film. It's very well done. And I looked online. You can get the DVD still online. I know we showed it at Unity. We had movie nights. And the movie follows Twyman as he traveled to Syria to host a synchronized meditation. It included millions of people from all around the world. It was on February 1st, 2016. And the film is a great resource to share. It was the first of 3 films that Twyman was producing for Unity. The series is called A Sound Called Unity. And the one, of course, that we saw was on the 12 Powers. Now, I don't know if those other 2 have been made. It may have got interrupted by our friend, the pandemic. I like to see that there's both positives and negatives in the pandemic, but more positives than negatives. So that's my take on the 12 Powers. What's more important is your take on the 12 Powers. I wasn't guided to, they didn't tell me I was doing meditation. So who's up for that? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. I now invite you to begin to prepare yourself for reflective personal prayer and guided musical meditation. After which I ask that you remain in essential silence during the music. If you choose to, you can close your eyes. Feel the weight of your body as it relaxes into your chair and you let go of today's anxieties. Feel your feet on the solid earth as you let go of tomorrow's worries. Become aware of your breathing as you breathe in life and breathe out love. Breathe in life and breathe out love. As you become centered, focus on your beautiful heart, your beautiful Christ self. Become filled with gratitude and allow into yourself that which fills you with peace and love. So we begin. Now I invite you to gently return to this place. Open your eyes in the spirit of peace and gratitude.
So we now move from meditation to our affirmation of prosperity. And this is a time when those of us who think of Unity of Appleton as our spiritual home practice putting spirit first in our financial life. When we do this, it prospers the spiritual community we love and supports our own spiritual growth and prosperity. Please connect with the guidance of Spirit in you and give whatever amount Spirit guides you to give. Whatever that amount is, take it in your hand and bless it with your love. And if you are one of the many of us who give electronically, take the gift into your heart. Feel free to bless the plate as it passes by and let yourself feel grateful to God in you as your one source. Then please join in our affirmation of prosperity. Unity of Appleton is alive with the energy of Spirit in the flow of divine abundance and radiant with unlimited possibilities. And divine love in and through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I joyfully give and willingly receive. I give in love, and I trust God as my source. Thank you all. We'll have to come up here. Carrie, thank you. We're sharing the other mic today. We breathe into this space of where our heartstrings have been plucked, our will, our understanding, our wisdom. Blessed in being here together. Thank you for sharing one another's gifts. Thank you. We have some announcements. Based on the interviews by the board and the positive feedback from the congregation, the Minister of Record position was offered to Mary Lou Palmer Cordoza, and the board is pleased to announce that she has accepted. The book, The Dream, The Journey, Eternity, and God by Sarah Landon and Mike Tooley. This study group starts tomorrow night at the home of Louise Taylor. And so talk to Louise or Julie, I believe. Would that be okay, Julie? Okay, good. Thank you. Want to try something new? We have the job for you. This one right here, chairperson. It's a lot of fun. You can stand up and read. You can do it. There's a sign-up sheet at the Connect and Serve table just waiting for your signature right back there. Ask anyone who has done it before, and they'll say it is a great experience. Try it. I totally agree. It's a privilege. Game night is coming up here this Thursday at 6:30 downstairs in the Unity Cafe. So bring $5 to offset the cost of our facility, and bring your favorite snacks and have fun playing board games. Thanks, Julie, for creating that. The United Nations International Day of Peace celebration, we will be celebrating that on Sunday, September 17th from 1 to 4 at Herb Park in Appleton. So mark your calendars for this fun, family-friendly event. It's our first one. And if you'd like to stand, and together we will say the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
We got a slide to do first. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
So we just, while Julie's getting up here, we just want to say thank you to all of our online viewers. We really, really appreciate you. We think about you when you're not here. And we also wanted to so thank Julianne and Doug for being here and singing with us today and playing with us today. I mean, it's been a wonderful experience, and thank you for making it happen. So now we're going to sing you out.
Hang on. Hey! I used to think that I was worthless and riddled with sin. That God was there somewhere outside me, not somewhere within. And I found a new way of thinking, and it changed my mind. Yeah, yeah. Now I know we're all part of God and have been for all time. I'm walking on sunshine. Oh, I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa. City teaches we've all got 12 powers of mind. Faith, strength, and imagination, we got all the time. Wisdom, truth, and understanding lies in you and me. Yeah, yeah. And love is the power that binds us as a family. I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa, I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa, I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa, and don't it feel good? Walking on sunshine. Walking on sunshine. I feel alive, I feel alive, I feel the love that's really real. I feel alive, I feel alive, I feel the love that's really real. I'm on sunshine.